Welcome in to another episode of the Radioactive Paper Cuts podcast. I, of course, am Josh Kennedy, joined by the lovely Noah King Bates, who's been acting his ass off lately. How's that going?
Oh, so busy, but it's been well worth it. The crowds have been phenomenal each night, and they've only been growing. So if you'd like, in the Grand Rapids area, and you love comedy or watching me almost die, the play that goes wrong at Circle Theater, Wednesday through Saturday.
You sold me. I guess I'll have to come see you almost die. Exciting stuff. That's really cool, man. So good for you. If you guys are in Grand Rapids, please go check it out. I'm sure it's a great show. We got some cool stuff. A couple trailers from the DC side of things, and then, of course, the new episode of The Boys. So I figured break down a couple trailers, then we talk The Boys. Sound good to you, Noah?
Oh, it sounds great.
Which would you prefer to talk about first? Because we got a teaser trailer from Sandman, which is Neil Gaiman's new adaptation on Netflix. Or we have the full trailer for Black Adam.
You're more adept to Sandman, so I will, because you're more of a fan of it than I am. So do you have more to say about it than maybe Black Adam? Because I have less to say about Sandman.
I wouldn't say more to say. It's a pretty short trailer, but let's just do Sandman because it's right here. It was about a minute and a half. The characters featured were, of course, Morpheus, Joanna Constantine, which you are a big fan of Constantine. It is the great-grandmother of John Constantine, I believe. Might be great-great-grandmother or something along those lines.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Yep, she's in the same profession as John Constantine in the future. She's going to be a pretty fun addition to the show. Visually, this looks really cool. It introduced some of the other gods, I guess if you want to call them that. I think they have a different name, the Immortals or something like that. Morpheus is one of the siblings. In the trailer, I believe we got a quick view of Death. I just watched it again. We got like a quick view of her, and then I believe Desire. Desire is going to be the sibling that's featured more than the antagonist. Desire's interesting. I believe that's the one that's being played by someone who identifies as a they, them. They're non-binary. Very similar to the character throughout the comic books. I've read both the comic books and the audiobooks, which I've already talked up a bunch on this show, but you kind of get an idea of how awesome it is. But it looks like what's going to be featured is Morpheus's kingdom. Essentially, the backstory is he was imprisoned by someone trying to, I believe, catch death. Again, he read the script wrong that like imprisons them. So he was trying to defeat Death in the first place, which is the older sibling of Dream. And instead they got Dream, and they realized that he was also powerful. So he's been trapped. I think they're 2 generations or one man's entire life. So about 60 years he's been imprisoned by humans. There's one guy who kind of uses his powers to his advantage. It's an interesting concept. That's kind of how the show is probably going to kick off. But when he finally does return to his kingdom, which is the kingdom of Dream, he has control of everything there. Some cool features of the kingdom. There's a library of every book that's ever been written and everyone that hasn't been written. So authors that have died that had something in their mind or someone that they dreamt of a book or a show idea, like they have a whole library of all of that. So it's a cool.
I'd have a whole section just for me.
Man. So there's lots of cool stuff. This is very fantasy driven. It's Neil Gaiman, again, one of my favorite authors. That's pretty much what he's known for, is his fantasy, tads of horror here and there, but for the most part, he's fantasy. And he's going to be great. This show looks really fun. You aren't as big on the comic books, so tell me what intrigues you about the trailer.
So first off, I give mad props to the opening scene where where Morpheus is coming out of the cocoon, or they're trying to. I found that to be just breathtakingly it was just like the effects were on point. You could feel the energy driving through it. And every time that they did something with the sand, I was super intrigued by how they made it look. So that's what I was looking forward to. There wasn't any comedy there, which I was cool with because it's not a really comedic, but visually it looks stunning.
He has a couple sidekicks that throw some humor into it, like his pet crow that you see at the end of it.
Yep.
Man, I'm blanking on the crow's name, but it's not like it's super relevant. He's a fun little sidekick character. Hopefully they give him a voice and at least embrace that sort of thing. A lot of this comic book, it's based on a graphic novel, like a collection of them that he wrote. It's like visual chaos. There's a lot of crazy things going on, a lot of mystical elements. he's the Lord of Dreams, so he in his name himself, he goes into other people's dreams. You know how wonky dreams get, and it's a really cool concept. So Morpheus is awesome. I'm really looking forward to this show. This was just a teaser trailer. I think we'll go super in depth on one, or at least I'll get you on and I'll try and lay it out for you. But this was about a minute and a half, and we're gonna
teach me. Yeah, and again, it looks beautiful. I kind of want to read up before it comes out, but I also usually like I do read up on most comic books before they come out. Like I've read The Boys, and I'm like rereading The Boys right now. But I kind of want to go into this one kind of blind and see how I feel, especially for the when we talk about the episodes, it'll be nice to have one person's viewpoint who's like how we're doing with The Boys, who knows the stories a little bit more, and one person who is going purely on an aesthetic based or purely with blood.
I think that's a good plan. There's like 12 volumes of this graphic novel. I imagine they're going to cover the first like 3 or 4 of them within this first season or whatever. Maybe they'll do one graphic novel per season. I don't know how they're going to do it, but it's going to be a fun ride. There's some stories are just unreal how good they are. Some of them are super weird. Like there's an entire comic book about these talking neighborhood cats that like meet together and they talk about like just really wonky stuff. And it's all fun and games though. So it looks cool. I'm excited. The guy that's cast as Morpheus looks the part. I'm glad to see that they're bringing one of the best graphic novels I've read to life. So it's going to be great. On to Black Adam, because that is the big money moves only. Dwayne The Rock Johnson just whipping out his 100 million Instagram follower dick and just showing everyone, you got to check out this new DC trailer, because he's been trying to get this shit made for a decade. And I'm excited. What did you feel about this trailer?
I like it. You can really tell when a movie, a show is a passion project. There's just something about some of the things that they focus on or some of the details that they add when you're like, oh, they care about this character. They care about what they're making here. And with this one, you can tell Dwayne The Rock Johnson cares about this project. Even just the way that he's like being like, if you take his portrayal in this and then like him doing Skyscraper or San Andreas, you can tell he is trying to act really well. He's putting his best foot forward for this because he wants there to be more compared to something he got paid for.
Yeah, I mean, something like Jungle Cruise. I mean, he pretends to be super passionate about that one, but we all know that was a big paycheck, and good for him. I mean, you can't knock the guy. He's probably the richest movie star in the world. Yeah,
I think right now he is the highest paid. He might beat Robert Downey Jr., but I know during like Endgame and stuff like that, Robert was still number one.
Yeah, he's since stopped playing the character. So Dwayne Johnson just keeps making money, and much respect to that guy. The first ever super suit that doesn't have built-in padding or muscle. So much respect to you, Mr. Rock. You're a very large and unrealistic specimen.
There were a little bit of changes. Though. Like, they're not giving him like pointed ears. They're just like very small little aspects that I understand why they changed it. Aesthetically, they don't do much outside of the fact for like a really big Black Adam fan to the point where people don't care. But I like how they're going into his backstory. I like how they're making it dark and gritty. I just hope that it doesn't get boggled down by unnecessary comedy. But DC isn't known for that.
One thing that threw me off about the trailer was the spaceships. I'm like, what are we doing with spaceships? I understand that somehow it's a little bit relevant because it's kind of how some characters get around, but I don't know, man. Whenever there's a spaceship to introduce, it just feels like it's going into a sci-fi realm, which maybe it will. I don't know. Maybe that's nitpicking, but it looks great. It got me really excited for Pierce Brosnan's Dr. Fate, because that's going to be sick.
Yes. I especially with like how certain people just kind of, this was a really smart time to introduce Dr. Fate, because Doctor Strange did well enough, but people are kind of like tired of that kind of magician, that kind of sorcerer. So this was a really smart time to bring in Dr. Fate for the DC universe. So I'm really his helmet. I'm not the biggest fan of the one side, not just being like the helmet design is strange. A lot of the costuming, as I was watching, I was like,
yeah, we're getting
something was always just slightly off.
Atom Smasher seems too comic book accurate, and then Dr. Fate's just feels like, I don't know. All the costumes, I mean, they're probably going to look great on screen. We're going to have fun at this movie. I mean, there's no doubt about that. So we're kind of just picking some things that, like, us as comic book fans, we spot these things. We're like, that happened in a different movie. We weren't such a big fan. But this is an entirely different project. I don't know how it's going to be related to the DC universe. Are they going to try and tie them in with this current stuff, or is this going to be a standalone? I guess we're going to see, because it sounds like...
I think it's at least going to connect with Shazam, though.
Yeah, I think it has to, right? Because Fury of the Gods is coming later this year. I can't say I'm not excited. We're DC fans, so keep it rolling.
Yeah, I think that I really am wondering where they're going to teeter on the lines, because they have, like Atom Smasher and Hawkman, like they have heroes. So I'm very intrigued on what they do in terms of what line are they towing with Black Adam and how they're going to tell that story. Like, is he going to be anti-hero? Is he going to kind of be the villain? Like, where are they going to really draw his story from?
That's one thing I appreciate about this trailer is Hawkman saying heroes don't kill people, and Black Adam saying, well, I do. So much love to that. There was that one scene that was very comedic. I hope it doesn't happen too much where he whips the dude in the air like 70 stories out into the ocean or whatever it is. I hope that's not like a regular thing. I hope it's more along the lines of, there's a couple one-off jokes, but it's a serious character, so hopefully they take him at least partially serious.
I think they will, and I think that scene is what is going to make it an easier connection to Shazam, because Shazam had those moments.
That's all comedy for the most part. Yeah, it's a good movie. No hate to it, but yeah, there's a lot of comedic stuff in that movie as compared to what we might see in Black Adam. But who knows?
Yeah, but I mean, the characters are both, very connected. So having at least
for sure.
Yeah, so having at least a similar style, so that way when we do get that inevitable Black Adam versus Shazam or whatever we have, it's not going to feel so disjointed by having this uber dark, sinister Black Adam and then jokey McJoke Shazam. Having a little intertwine between the two
feels very much like them trying to cross over the Punisher and Ms. Marvel. So technically the same universe. Do we want them to cross? Well, yes.
Yes.
Nope, we're not going to go that route. I was going to make a original, but I won't.
Oh, no.
Anyway, I'm excited for some DC stuff. But what we can appreciate is what is out right now, and that is The Boys. New episode. How you feeling, Noah? Episode 4. I'd name this episode 3 like a dummy head. Go ahead.
Episode 4. My newfound appreciation, I do not want to say love under any circumstance. My appreciation, love for Anthony Starr, not Homelander. The way that he is now playing Homelander is so visually intriguing. I know that he had to play, I have to be nice in front of the audience, but I'm really sinister. Now he can just be now he's fully emoting
his
ego.
He's off the reservation, as they say.
Yes, and I love it. I think it's so compelling and interesting, and what he does later on in the episode to really hammer home that he does not care what anyone thinks. He is going to do what he wants now. Is so good. So that was, Anthony Starr definitely was like my top moment, the top of the episode for me.
Yeah, he's clearly he's got a lot of weight to carry as far as that show goes, because he's playing the big bad in some all-powerful superhero film where he's also kind of playing a hero. It's interesting stuff, and he's a dynamic actor. He's playing the character perfectly. This one starts out with obviously season 3 left off with Butcher throwing up in Huey's face the vile green stuff, and Huey obviously calls him out like, you're on V and temporary, and that's kind of where we pick off here, or we pick up there. And how did you feel about this whole situation? Because it seems like immediately Huey did the logical things, thinking that he wants to also have the power. And Butcher takes like an almighty route, which I don't know if that's super like his character, because there's a little bit of self-punishment involved, obviously. But he's also keeping it away from Huey, even though it seems like that's what he wants. So what do you think the psychology is there?
I think it's Butcher. I mean, he brings it up later on in the episode when he's talking to Mother's Milk. He has this whole God complex martyr feel to him where he's like, I'm the only one who can do this. I'm to the point where, again, it's not, is it because you truly believe that you're the best person to do it, or it's because you feel like you deserve the pain that is being caused by being on V?
Like Batman kind of shares similar characteristics as far as taking on the weight of the world on his own shoulders, and obviously that character has moved on to have 1,000,005 sidekicks. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh no, I completely get it. And I mean, Carl Urban is giving that. I mean, Butcher in the comics is no saint. And after what he did to Ryan in the previous episodes, and even what he does to Kimiko, Frenchie, and Huey in this episode, it's not like, this show is so weird because I was talking to one of my castmates and they're like, oh, I can't watch shows where you have no one to root for. And I'm very much that person. And I was like, that's true. You would think that you're supposed to root for Butcher against Homelander, but that's not true. You root for
the show. You root for Starlight and Huey is kind of like
Starlight, Huey. You even start like going off to some of the side. Maeve, you kind of start to root for Maeve.
Right.
If you're like in a not in like a very weird way, you start to root for the Deep. It changes with the show. You're not supposed to just root for one person per se. You're supposed to see how the world grows, and I like that. But Butcher. Good job to Carl Urban. Because he does, every time he is talking or he does do something, you do care about what he says. But I'm just sick of the constant that is Butcher in terms of, I'm going to be mean to everyone and then I'm going to do one small, insignificant, nice thing or say something that kind of helps my group of people that follow me and then go immediately back to being a dick.
Yeah, his character's, he's on the precipice of being completely unlikable, so I guess we're going to see how this develops a bit. Obviously, he takes control of the situation. There's a deal going on in order to get further information on Soldier Boy or whatever.
The weapon.
It was the one I'm talking about is Frenchie's friend to get her out of
Nina.
Nina. They send Kimiko on a mission to go murder a dude.
Oh yes, the death by dildos.
Death by dildos.
Yes, that scene.
Go ahead.
Amazing, and then later on the next dildo that we see, I thought that was a really funny, nice little sight gag.
Yeah,
I thought that was beautiful.
It's hilarious because it's entirely accurate. Like, you can get sex toys themed after superheroes that are made up, so it stands to reason that there would be a line of dildos based on the seven. So they're sent in the guys some sort of higher up for they went to Russia, correct?
Yeah, they went to Russia,
and he's got a room full of hookers and sex slaves, that type of thing. And Kimiko goes in. Doesn't talk, so you got to give that actress props, my guy, because she just acts her ass off and she's not allowed to talk. It's crazy. Obviously, we get to see the death by dildo. The first one was definitely super fun. Loved it. Did your heart drop just a little bit when Kimiko got shot right in the middle of the head?
No, because I know her power, but I was freaked out when I saw who did it. I was like, oh, well, that was kind of like seeing that it was one of the sex workers. I was like, what the hell? And then afterwards, when she got back up and they all started flipping out and she couldn't tell them, like, hey, no, I'm a good guy. Like, I'm trying to help you. I thought that was pretty.
Continues to be the power of the group, though. I mean, we just got to acknowledge that she's the GOAT as far as that goes. And, takes out a whole room of trained killers with guns and just she kills them all with just a collection of dildos. So much respect to her. Obviously, she gets off scot-free. Everyone's pissed at Butcher, though. Mother's Milk had already kind of given him a warning, like, dude, you're being too rough on these guys, this, that, and the other thing. And Butcher's thinking, like, I'm the leader. Everybody listen to me. You don't question me type of thing.
And then what was weird... Yeah, he is being a dictator, and he's being another form of Homelander on a whole. That's why, like, the fact that they share the same power scale during the time that he's on temporary review is very symbolic. Like, the fact that they share the exact same powers and they are doing the exact same thing to the people around them. It's just sadly one of them considers their group friends, and that's the one being the worst to his friends.
Right.
But Butcher goes on to have that heartfelt conversation with Mother's Milk. Is like, I brought you back here, like, after all this because your platoon said that you keep, like, the team together.
Mm-hmm.
But then he immediately, like, does another dickish thing. It's like, how do you expect me to keep the team together if you're not even trying to not fuck us over?
And that's exactly what Mother's Milk says at the end of the episode, because he keeps doing all these terrible things. So it's like he's losing the support of his team, and that sucks. I mean, you can't really get around saying anything else about it. We get to see Homelander doing some weird work, some scenes with the Deep and A-Train. I didn't like how Supersonic so easily believed that A-Train was gonna, like, side with him and Starlight. Like, it's like, come on, man.
I mean, I see why, because like, he's probably seen for a little bit the lower that A-Train has been, like, getting bullied out, like, stuff like that. People, like, he's not running. He's probably right. He's on his way out. His numbers are dropping. Like, he probably is, like, he knows that he's on the way out. This might be, like, the perfect time to try and get someone. And for a second, that's the part where my heart dropped. Because for a second, I did believe that A-Train was up, because we had talked about the fact that we wanted him to do something.
For him to have a redemption arc. I was like, all right, A-Train. But I think they very much did that intentionally. They built him up just to tear him down again. And that's okay, because you need villains in the show. You can't just have Homelander. You got to have people that fear him and respect him. So,
and the talk of, like, because the Deep, like, the stuff that the Deep was saying, the Deep is a puppet.
Yeah, for his girlfriend, which she came out of nowhere. His wife, yeah.
But she's been doing that, like, because she would, like, when he had to eat Timothy. When he had to eat Timothy, she was the one who was like, she had to have told Homelander. There's something between her and Homelander that's not being said.
It's going to be revealed at some point. We'll see how it goes. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be an inappropriate thing, or maybe, like, he has some sort of power over her. I don't know what it is, but to be determined, I suppose.
Yes. So, I mean, I truly was like, all right, A-Train, this is your redemption. And then it didn't happen. I was like, that's fucky, but it happens.
Let's talk about Giancarlo Esposito. He was just continues to be awesome, because I was going to say, what storyline haven't we talked about yet? And it's Vicky, Stan Edgar, and Homelander's little trio.
Yes.
There, where Stan Edgar thought that Vicky was going to go reprimand Homelander, but instead she turns cheek and completely calls him out for embezzling funds or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Inappropriate conduct. I don't know. Remember what the actual term was, but yeah, I love that. Even after that, Giancarlo Esposito is just chilling up in Vought Tower, and Homelander calls in and says his blood pressure is the exact same as if he was reading Todd Grisham. It's like, let's go.
Yeah. Oh, God, that scene, which is taken from the comic as well.
Oh, good.
Where he, like, said, like, oh, yeah, Homelander is just, like, he pretty much does the exact, it's almost not word for word, but bar for bar. And that's why Giancarlo Esposito plays Stan Edgar. That's why he should be Lex Luthor. The way he can control with no amount of fear, anger, anything but pure authoritative patience.
God, it's intimidating deadpan. He's like, I don't know how he manages to do that, but it's perfect. He's just such a good villain. God.
Because he makes a god quake. Like, Homelander might not show it to his face. That hurt him.
Yep.
He hurt the person who everyone's trying to figure out how to hurt. And he did it in the easiest way by telling him exactly what he is. Nothing.
I heard some conspiracies online. Maybe you might have an insight because you read some of the comics, but any chance Stan Edgar has powers as well? I mean, he's the guy that has the direct line to get the serum, so stands to reason he might have dipped into his own supply.
I mean, the way that they're playing him in this show, I wouldn't believe so. I think that's what makes him more intriguing as a character, is to have him truly not be afraid, because he's just not afraid.
Right, yeah, no, he's very much the Lex Luthor of this universe, obviously. I mean, the comparisons are endless. It's just exactly what they were going for. And playing the character better than any live-action Lex Luthor I've seen, so keep going.
Oh, yeah.
Keep doing your thing, man. Vicky taking the power route where she injected her own daughter with the super serum because she doesn't want Homelander to have a chance to hurt her. That scene was pretty messed up. The spinal tap.
Oh, yeah. And the weird thing is, because then that proves that Vicky can't blow up his head.
Yeah, I would say so. I don't think there's any way that she has. I think maybe she can't use it on other supers, or just not on him because he's so powerful. Because she did use it on, Kevin from episode 2 or 3, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But he only had, small powers, and trying to take on the biggest hero there is in this universe, probably not going to be able to blow up his head. It's too easy.
Yeah, and I think allowing her to be able to do that would just kind of take away from the new Soldier Boy story, especially with what we reveal at the end of the episode with his newfound ability. It would be like Homelander, boom, his head explodes, and then credits, and then we have nothing else.
Yeah, don't want to do that. News, obviously, they just got renewed for season 4. That was announced today, I believe. So,
Ooh.
The Boys is coming.
I'm not shocked under any circumstance.
No, not even a little bit. But hey, good for us. More content to cover on the Radio Paper Cuts podcast, and you guys should follow, and rate 5 stars. Anyway, the end of this episode is probably the most intriguing part of it, I would say. They infiltrate the Russian base after they do the little mission for Nina. No, Nina's the friend. Whatever, the drug lord that Frenchie used to work for.
Yeah.
We did her bidding, and then all this.
No, Nina is the drug lord. He's doing it to save Marcy or Marcel.
Marcy. Yeah, you're right. Marcy, whatever. Yes, his ex-girlfriend that we kind of got introduced to. But they infiltrate the base. I love how they're like, it just talking about how rudimentary Russian military bases are. I was like, I don't know if that's a good idea to do right now, but do you?
But I mean, it's the Boys. Because I mean, also look at we didn't talk about it. The amount of Homelander hate that was in Russia, which is very ironic.
Well, yeah, he's like the face of America, if you will. So it kind of stands to reason there. This last little mission is fun for sure. I like how they invade. No one's paying any attention to them. They come across like a superpowered gerbil. I don't remember the stupid gerbil.
Which is also in the comics, but for a whole different reason.
That's hilarious. Frenchie accidentally pisses him off or something. It gets him excited. The hamster breaks out. And that's what causes the alarm. And now there's a firefight with 2 Mother's Milk and Frenchie. No one in the area other than Kamiko has power. So they kind of feel like they're outnumbered here. And they're for sure going to die. Which they kind of foreshadow with Mother's Milk talking about. Like, yeah, well, if we get caught, everybody's got AK-47s. It's not, fun scene. Reveals some things. You want to take over from there? Talk about what happened?
So right after, they get, kind of not ambush, but they're taking some heat. They all start running out of bullets here and there, and then it comes to show that Butcher did take some more Compound V.
Of course.
So of course he did. So he kind of goes out of his way and starts, taking out the guards. And then one is coming up behind to kill Frenchie. His mother's milk.
I think so.
And then we see Huey just kind of Superman punch through the person's spine, showing that he himself took some of the temporary V. And he was also naked because he moved so fast, or teleported. I couldn't
believe he teleported into the person, but we didn't talk about that quick scene where Butcher did inject the V again, and Huey explained why he feels like he should be able to take the. He feels so powerless. They really did do a good job of breaking Huey down, because episode 1 of the season was Government Huey feeling on top of the world, and then all of a sudden he's betrayed by 3 of his closest allies, and he's back with the boys, and he feels kind of worthless, and that's especially because Homelander got in his face and said he was going to hook up with his girlfriend and stuff, and that was a very good scene as well.
And then you have the insecurities of Supersonic.
Yep. He's got a lot tearing him down, so it stands to reason that he would take the Compound V, and it seems like he has the ability to teleport. Does he also have super strength? I don't know. Did the teleporting with the Force kind of go through? I don't really know what happened.
Which is why I thought it could have possibly been super speed, and that's what made me dislike. It made it very intriguing if it was super speed, because it made this very, very weird connection that Huey and Butcher gain the powers of the people that hurt them most.
Oh, that would make sense, yeah, because obviously A-Train killed his girlfriend in season 1, so.
Right.
Yeah, maybe that stands to reason. I mean, there's probably lots of theories going around. To me, in the scene, it looked like he teleported, but very well could have been super speed. That's been kind of covered by the Snyder cut. It showed Flash literally running out of his shoes type of scenario. So you do that on a rated R basis, you would tear through your clothes. So could be super speed, could be teleporting. I guess we're going to see in the next episode. But obviously, this leads to the boys becoming victorious. This is the last straw for Frenchie, Mother's Milk, and Kimiko. I don't know how Huey's feeling about staying with Butcher, but they're all.
But did you also notice the fact that they were more hurt by Huey doing Compound V than Butcher? Like Kimiko and Frenchie, and Mother's Milk, all like even Huey. Huey was very confused. He was like, he did the exact, but they all expected more out of Huey.
That's essentially what it is. It's just, even as the audience, he's our moral compass in this show. So the fact that he would choose to take the Compound V, I mean, they built it up perfect and it makes sense to me. But to his friends and to the outside world, like, it seems like he did give up and turn to the dark side as it was. So I can understand why they're all upset. So clearly the boys are going to have some sort of breakup in the next episode. They kind of did just at the end of this one. But they couldn't because they took out all the Russian soldiers. And of course, this is where we get revealed. We see our first scene of modern day Jensen Ackles. I was excited. He was in a Winter Soldier type containment suit. So I don't know, when they wrote The Boys, they essentially just combined Winter Soldier with Captain America type of thing. And yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's exactly what they do with all the characters. So made for an interesting thing. Interesting story. Sorry, I said interesting too many times. Jensen Ackles, that's his full beard. That is his full hair. So he grew all that out. I follow it on Instagram, and I was like, man, you look ridiculous. But he did it for the part. So good on him. He's looking like he got in shape. Not that he's ever been fat, obviously, but he's looking pretty jacked. So good for him. You want to talk about the scene once he finally wakes up?
I mean, yeah. So we finally see that he wakes up, and because the boys thought that they were finding a weapon that killed Soldier Boy, not Soldier Boy himself. Exactly. So finding Soldier Boy was very confusing. Soldier Boy kind of walked out, and I stand to believe that he goes to blow a hole in the door. He wasn't necessarily aiming for Frenchie per se. He was just trying to escape. Kimiko jumps in front to protect him because she can heal, and he escapes. And Kimiko gets the full brunt of the blast, and she doesn't heal. And they recognize the fact that she is not healing, something that we have seen time and time again. she can do very instantaneous. So they are driving away. Butcher is driving. Frenchie is, trying to keep Frenchie and Mother's Milk are trying to keep Kimiko awake, trying to find out where to go.
Right.
And it is where we get Mother's Milk saying, like, hey, what team do you like? There is no team. And that was hurtful and it sucked, but it also, brought up the fact of like, oh, they did still find a weapon that can take down Homelander. It just happens to be Soldier Boy because clearly his powers negate powers.
Yeah, for sure. And he had like a very Havoc type energy beam from the X-Men is kind of what he was drawn from, what it looked like. I wasn't expecting that at all. I didn't think he could shoot lasers or things along those lines.
He can't, and they said it. They're like, that's not everything we've read. That's not what his power.
Okay, so something they added for the show. Sure, why not? I don't care. I mean, they can do whatever they want. Looked visually cool. Yeah, the boys seem like they're gonna break up, and this was an action-packed episode. Like there was a lot going on because right there seems like the logical point where they could have ended the episode. That is not what happened. We had the whole Homelander Starlight situation going on in the background, and hashtag Homelight. They've been having to keep up appearances, and clearly this is where we see that A-Train went Judas and betrayed the insurrection of Homelander, and who is left to pay but Supersonic, the new addition to the Seven, and he's mad dead. And
it really hurt Starlight of all reasons because he promised like, hey, I'm gonna protect you, I'm here to help you. She asked him, like, she put him in danger, that whole thing that she was afraid of doing in the beginning,
right?
And then the Homelander making that threat, like, hey, I will kill Huey, you try this again, it's
that
over.
was the thing. He said, look at me and look at that. If, just repeat after me, if this happens again, that's Huey. And that was very much showing that he had the power in the relationship now, because the Flight 37 video seems to be all but forgotten now. They're just easy. Like, dude, I straight up don't care anymore. I have the power. Very Homelander of him. Supersonic's not looking good. He definitely didn't just one punch him. He was hammered meat. Yeah.
But we also, and we skipped over, we did get Maeve. We had Maeve's return very briefly, and the fact that she's been lying in creating this narrative that she is drunk and
drunk, that type of thing. I loved that. Yeah, good point. We didn't bring that up, but Maeve is clearly still in tip-top shape, and she's under the impression that if she gets enough people to team up with them, that they will. She might get a chance at the final blow, or she'll be able to stand in the way until they're ready to get the final blow, type of thing. Very heroic. She's ready to make the ultimate sacrifice. So
very Wonder Woman.
Very Wonder Woman. Yeah, she's pretty dang close to what Wonder Woman is, and that's clear. That's been made clear the whole time, and nothing wrong with that. It's great. I love this show. I'm having a lot of fun. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about this episode?
No, I'm intrigued on, because of the way that they're going, I'm intrigued on who is going to take down Homelander. I'm intrigued by it because I mean in the comics, it's Black Noir, which we figure out like who he is, and that's different than here. So will it be Soldier Boy? Will it be Black Noir? Will the insurrection truly be? Because they already kind of did an insurrection thing with taking out Stormfront, and we had that whole like the girls can get it done type thing.
Yep.
Are they gonna do something similar, or is it just gonna be?
This show's anything but one note, so they're gonna find a new one to keep it moving.
Yeah.
I just don't know where the show's going, because it seems like the ultimate conclusion is kill Homelander, but once you do that, like you said, where are we left? So I gotta imagine eventually we're gonna get a legion of super bads of some sort to kind of like Homelander switches over to their side. That's probably some season 4 stuff. I don't know how the season's gonna end, but that's the fun of watching this.
Oh yeah, I'm very intrigued, and I hope we get another season of Diabolical Sons, because again, they are they're more. It's interesting when you have the realm of animation and spin-offs and strange things. So
That August 5th, Sandman comes out on Netflix. Gonna be able, I imagine it's the whole season because that's kind of what Netflix does. October 21st, 2022. Black Adam is coming to all theaters, the ones near you for sure. We're going to check that out, probably review it on the podcast. Thank you guys for joining. We love you, of course. And until next time, you have a good one.